Hi everyone, welcome to Delta Staffing, the only channel that brings to you up-to-date job postings in regard the IT industry, remote jobs, and sometimes hybrid roles. With that being said, we have an interesting requirement today from Palo Alto Networks. It's a top cybersecurity partner company, and today we will be reviewing the role of a senior professional service project manager. Please join me as we review this role. But before then, please remember to subscribe, remember to turn on your notification, remember to comment in the comment section, remember to share so you can be the first to actually see notifications and updates when I bring to you up-to-date job postings. Let's jump right into it. So like I mentioned, today we'll be reviewing the Senior Professional Services Project Manager. And this role is actually remote. It's actually local to Plano, Texas, but it's also remote, meaning they also entertain remote resources or remote candidates. So Palo Alto mission here states at Palo Alto Networks, everything starts and ends with our mission. Being the cybersecurity partner of choice, protecting our digital way of life, our vision is a world where each day is safer and more secure than the one before. We are a company built on the foundation of challenging and disrupting the way things are done. And we are looking for innovators who are as committed to shaping the future of cybersecurity as we are. Just scanning through the approach to work, we lead with flexibility and choice in all of our people program. We have disrupted the traditional views that all employees have the same needs and want. We offer personalization and offer our employees the opportunity to choose what works best for them as often as possible. At Palo Alto Network, we believe in the power of collaborations and value in-person interactions. This is why our employees generally work from the office 3 days per week, leaving 2 days for choice and flexibility to work where you feel most effective. Now, with that being said, I intentionally read that out. But again, if you look at the job post here, the job post says remote. So it doesn't say hybrid. There's nothing saying hybrid here. So it's your choice. You can be remote or you can be hybrid, or you can actually go into the office, whichever one suits you. So your professional service senior project manager will lead services projects as part of the delivery cycle, including handling all deployments, resources, and ensuring all the deliverables are met and delivered on time and under budget. So I want to actually highlight something here, including handling all deployment, right? This is not true. As a professional service project manager, your job is not, I mean, it is a nice to have if you have that experience in doing release managements and deployments, using whatever tool, but your job is not to move components that have been built from one instance of whatever tool you're using to the other. That is not your job. I think this is just something that was written into the job description. But your job is to make sure that you manage the business triangle, which is the resources, the budget, and the timeline. Now, there are different aspects of project management that those three does not necessarily um so your job is to manage the business triangle, the resources, the budget, and the timeline. Now when it comes to your core competence as a professional service project manager, you will make sure that if you're working in an agile environment, that the sprint is not overlay. It's not that the velocity in that sprint is not too high for the resources to be able to deliver. It doesn't make sense if you overload a sprint and the resources are not able to deliver. It doesn't look good when it comes to status report. It looks like the resources are not necessarily working, but they are burning themselves out, right? We need, a work-life balance. The next thing here is the project manager will drive customer deployment projects, including program and processes initiatives. Again, he would manage the process, not driving the customer deployment project. He would manage the process of deploying customer project. This is nothing else but going to market, right? Going live. So when you're going live or handing over a property to some pilot users before it goes to the customer, the project manager would actually handle that from the inception of that implementation to testing the implementation to, deploying the implementation to the production instance, which means it's live, it's gone to market. Now customers can access that. He would make sure everything is done accordingly, right? He is not necessarily doing any deployment, just like I said before. He would partner with IT on systems and infrastructure processes. These engagements are typically more than 30 days of total effort and includes various products. Senior project managers will carry a project load of about 20 projects, totaling 1.5 to 2 million in revenue. So they've actually stated here now the project could be more than 30 days, right? I'm not sure if it's a waterfall type of project management that they run here or it's agile. But if it's agile, it will be a combination of sprints, which still will make it more than 30 days if you have more than two sprints, right? And then another important thing to point out here is that as a senior project manager, you are being treated as a program manager, basically, because you're handling multiple projects at the same time. Now, these projects might be in different phases. So if you have a big project, say an enterprise project, right? And that enterprise project is about maybe $1.5 million, right? You could also be assigned to another project. I'm trying to justify why you should not be hung on this 20 projects, right? So it could be three projects, it could be two projects. Just depends on how much the revenue is, right? If it is an enterprise project, remember an enterprise project, you have sub projects under them. So it could be one project that worth 1.5 in revenue, and that project could be in a design phase, but then you could also have another $500,000 project, which could be in a, UAT phase, testing phase. So doesn't require too much from you. So basically you can, manage those projects. But if you have 10 projects and you have five of them in design phase, you know, if you have 10 projects and you have all of them in design phase, it would be somewhat of an overload. So it's always very important that you take note of that, understand what phase, and actually have a game plan on how to execute on your project. Because as a senior services project manager, you will be in charge of a lot of things. You would be in charge of making sure that the developers understand the product owner, kind of being the licensing between the developer and the business team. You're not necessarily helping them translate anything, but you're the one that will set up the meeting, status report, chasing down the business team, be it a business analyst, a product owner, or even stakeholders to make sure that the developers are unblocked so you can keep the implementation going. So I know I wasted much of your time there, but let's just jump into the impact that you would bring to the company. You would have to determine project partners and team structure. In conjunction with project partners, you would help the definition of a project scope, requirement, and deliverables. You will help. You are not by any means expected to define the scope of the project. That is defined by the business team. But you would help in making sure that you freeze the scope, so any other scope that is being added will be considered as a scope creep. If there is no change request, they can actually agree to make it priority, take something out of the backlog, and put that into backlog, or remove an active sprint story and actually add whatever we consider as a scope creep. Remember, there's no true agile. It is either, there's no true agile. You could have a waterfall, you could have, some type of agile, and then you could have a mix of both. But develop project timeline and landmarks using appropriate tools and techniques. Build and execute project work plans and revise as appropriate to meet the changing needs and requirements. Identify resources needed and assign individual responsibilities and tasks. Run the day-to-day operational aspect of a project and scope. This could be like a stand-up call, a daily touch base. What did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? Are you blocked in any way? How can I help you move forward? Work on services operational projects that target new services, IP deliveries, partner communications, and scheduling. Review deliverables prepared by team before passing to client. Effectively apply Palo Alto Network's project management methodology and implement project standards. So it seems like they have their own project management methodology. That's a nice thing. And you would have to be onboarded to that. You would have to get used to that as a project manager on the team with Palo Alto Networks. Minimize our exposure and risk on all projects. Ensure project documents are completed, current, and stored appropriately. So I'm not going to waste more time there. Your experience in computer science is highly appreciated. MIS business or equivalent education training experience or equivalent military experience required. 6 years of related work experience or leading complex project. Analyze project profitability, revenue, margins, bill rates, and utilizations. Again, I'm just going to, stop reading through this, but for you listening to me or for you watching this right now, ask yourself if you've been in a project environment. Now, think of a project environment as an environment where you have kind of a project manager, you have a business analyst, you have developers, you have a project director or a sponsor. And then whatever role you played in there, you can actually apply to this role. Or if you're interested in becoming a project manager, but you're a project coordinator now, or you're interested in becoming an agile, scrum master, but you are just a waterfall project manager now, apply to this role. It is not rocket science. It is very straightforward. You should actually know how to use Microsoft Project, Smartsheet, and Asana. All this you can go on YouTube and learn them, or you can even go on Udemy and buy the courses. It's pretty easy, straightforward. Good presentation skills, including written and oral presentation. Good organizational skills, including tools utilization, spreadsheets, project management tools like maybe Jira, maybe your Agile DevOps, whatever it is, mind map, information collection, attention to details, and prioritization. If you want to apply to this role, just go to Google and type Palo Alto Networks careers and then search for senior professional services project manager. It's going to be Plano, Texas, and it's remote. And the job ID is 3118910. And I would be adding the link in the description section of this video. So feel free to go there now. If the link breaks or if the link doesn't direct you to this job, you might be too late, or it is too much traffic trying to get to their job posting sites, right? So with that being said, let's jump into the compensation for this role. The base salary for this role, it's here. For candidate to receive an offer at the posted level, the starting base salary or base salary plus commission target is expected to be between 117,500 a year to 190,000. Now, I'm going to just tell you something. For you to be able to apply to this role, the key word here is senior, right? And then another word is project manager. So for you to be a senior project manager, you must have had some years of experience managing engagement. And by engagement, I mean project. You should not be settling for 117,000. Of course, it's a range. Remember, negotiate your salary. Always negotiate your salary. There's nothing stopping you from going to 200,000. Now, this might be their band for that particular role, but if they really like you during the interview, it happened to me, it can happen to anyone else, they would seek a supervisor's approval for them to pay you 200,000. Now remember, even if you cannot get to the 190, always remember to negotiate. For example, they say, okay, we're going to pay you 160, and you say, oh, my ideal salary would have been that 190, but that difference, instead of, spreading it across a year, can you make it a sign-on bonus? It's a one-time payment, the extra 30,000, right? Now, the downside of that is you're going to pay more taxes and it's a one-time payment. And you could also ask for restricted stocks like they have, highlighted here. And what happens here is you might not sell because of the word restriction, but the day this company is acquired, I'm not sure if they're being built for acquisition, but the day it's acquired, your stock would vest and you will be paid for your restricted stocks for sure. So again, remember, negotiate your salary, always ask for one-time sign-on bonus, and also ask for a sign-on bonus, not a sign-on, also ask for a performance-based bonus. Lastly, ask for stocks or shares. With that being said, please do not forget to subscribe, like, turn on your notification, and leave me a comment. Let me know how we're doing. Can't wait to see you guys next week. Thank you and have a great festive period. Bye.